All right. Oh,
My favorite.
I never get tired of hearing that intro, and I
You have
say that way too
you have the
often.
best intro, dude.
Every week.
Yeah. So for this week's Hunter's Hard Drive, we're going to be talking about the new Amazon series Rings of Power, not to be confused with the Game of Thrones show House of the Dragons, which is similar in genre, sort of, but whatever. But Rings of Power, wow. For being a TV show, because we've been getting a lot of shows lately that with really, really high production value, and this show is basically a movie. Like the first 2 episodes we saw was like just a 2-hour movie, and it sucked me right in. We get to see, Galadriel as a younger woman, younger elf.
So hard to say those names.
Yeah, the way they pronounce them is cool. And Elrond,
Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser.
He's also, yeah, I guess he's around too. Which I didn't know that they were going to be in this series, because obviously the elves, well, not obviously, but the elves live a long time, and I didn't realize they were going to be part of this story, which is really cool. But let me hear what you guys have to say about it. Let's start with Stevie. What did you think?
You always pick me first.
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Forget it. Tech, you go first.
Wow, thanks for the heads up. Thanks, Stephen. Secret. So,
Well, you complain, so go. You go first.
dude, thousands of years before the movies that I'm familiar with, right? And so, just trying to wrap my head around the timeline of this thing. I can't even pronounce these names. Galadriel. How do you say it?
Galadriel.
Okay, thank you. She's amazing, right? I just love the fact that we're watching that story take off, and then another really cool character, Arendar, the Ishmael Cruz. He's that one elf that's dispatched out into to look at this one valley, this one area where there's for 70 years he's been posted there.
79
years. Yeah. So he was a standout character for me as well. And then anything dwarves, I'm down. I'm so down with anything dwarves. Those, I just love the characters and their feistiness. Also, we got to see their building skills at a totally another level like we've never seen. So just being introduced to the craftsmanship and the innovation of bringing the sunlight or whatever light from above down to kind of
with the
what's like mirrors or something they were using to kind of
something reflective
to grow the vegetation under in these deep caves. Like I was floored, and to your point, what you were saying is like this belongs in the theater. This is beyond television. This belongs in the theater. Super hyped on it, man, and I'm in. I mean, first episode, I'm in, and then the second is I can't wait for like the next one. So just really stoked.
Yeah, right on. Well, thank you,
Yep.
Joe. Raimi, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I've seen 2 episodes. Is there a third yet, or have...
That's all we have so
okay,
far.
good. So I'm all caught up. Hey, for once. So no, it was. I thought it was great. I think I went into it a little unknowing. I had heard that there was some drama surrounding it, and fortunately, the reality is, whatever that drama was about is a bunch of BS, because what I saw was fantastic. I thought the casting was great.
Mm-hmm.
The characters, you like the characters. I think I mentioned on before, like, I don't like it when like they make these characters that you sort of intentionally don't like. I thought the casting is fantastic, especially considering we're looking at younger versions of characters that we've already been accustomed to in the other films. With the dwarfs, we get to see, because in the other films, they're walking through the ruins of what the dwarves once had. And Gimli talks about like the grandeur and how, proud his people were, but now we actually get to see what that looked like when it was in its prime, which is cool. So I think it's great. I'm can't wait till the next episode comes out. So
right on. Thank you, Raimi. All right, Steven, are you ready? You good?
Yeah, I'm ready. That was all just a ploy so I could Google the cast names here, so that I could refer.
That's fine.
Dude, one of these things that all these series with these immense casts like throw me off on is I can't remember everyone's names. Like on Game of Thrones, like I watched Game of Thrones, from episode 1 to the final episode, and like I can follow along pretty much, but then like Monday morning water cooler talk, and like I have a coworker and he's just like throwing out all the names, and I'm like, who did what, huh? But
yeah, they don't stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
So
you know who they're talking about, but you don't remember their names.
with these first 2 episodes of Rings of Power, just I am so for it. Like, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. I think they call that the third age, and this is now the second age of man, where they're gonna explain like why the rings were created, and then like we haven't seen Sauron yet, supposedly.
Yeah, we have.
Kinda.
Well, we have
Not in the future, like, not in present, but when they explain Sauron, they definitely show him when he's walking through the orcs there in the
right, but we haven't. They've only shown him like as a flashback, right?
Okay, that was a flashback.
They haven't.
So when they're explaining what was it, Margoth? No, the main villain,
right? But
the main baddie.
I love the actress
Morgoth.
for Galadriel. I think the chemistry between Galadriel and Elrond was just like I love their chemistry on screen. I love the way that they're introducing all the characters, similar to like the movie Crash, where it's like, okay, you've got these set of characters here, the elves, you got the proto hobbits, what do they call them? The Proudfoots,
Harfoots.
Proto hobbits.
Yeah.
That nice word.
Yeah,
Harfoots.
the Harfoots
Before they became civilized.
right. They've got the humans, right, who I guess worshipped or were followers of the original big bad.
Yep.
And they kind of like have to be
right.
Like the elves have to like patrol them to like make sure like
Morgoth.
they're doing their thing. Which actually I love how they haven't shown the son of Bronwyn, the kid Theo who found the sword, the hilt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm probably totally wrong on this.
You're probably right with what you're going to say.
But they gave him this like
who is he going to become?
They gave him this bowl cut, and even when the orcs like knocked him over, they purposely like blocked out his ears. I think he's going to be the son of Arondir.
Yes, it's kind of hinting at that.
Right?
It's kind of hinting at that. He's got a thing for the mom.
Yeah, they have this like
it's obvious. It's obvious there's something there, right? And even the dad picks up on it. He's like, I mean, hey, soldier.
Hey, maybe I'm wrong. And it's going to be this thing where his ears are normal, but then maybe he's going to be Sauron, the reincarnation of. Because doesn't his blood goes into the
it touches
it,
right?
Yeah, because he had a cut from the fight with the orc or whatever, and the blood like goes up towards the blade, and it activates it or something.
So that coworker that I was telling you guys about, he told me that when they showed the map of his village on like the overhead map thing, that the mountain structure of his village is the same mountain structure as Mordor. Yeah, Mordor. Thank you. So I don't know. It could be.
Hey. Could be good connection.
And then the last thing I wanted to say was, I think another red herring that they're doing is the stranger.
Yeah.
So
who's that guy?
Oh, the guy that came out of the freaking sky,
right?
The guy in the fireball.
Okay, so everyone, I think they're telegraphing that this is supposed to be Gandalf.
I don't think it is.
No way.
I don't think it is.
No way.
I
don't think he's born yet.
Saruman.
That's what I was thinking.
You think it's Saruman?
What?
Okay. I think it's... Well, I thought Saruman is like Gandalf.
They're human.
Well, they're like
Yeah,
the
they're
same
human,
age, and
though.
they're both wizards, right? So
Yeah, I don't know how old wizards are supposed to
Okay,
be.
and I'm probably I'm already contradicting myself,
But I don't think
because
it's
I think that
I
think
it's
that's
Gandalf.
Sauron.
or Saruman. It could be Sauron,
So-
maybe.
so I'm-
but how would he? But he was already a tall menace. How is he going to be a scrawny old dude flying through the sky?
I don't know, but I mean, we're only on episode
good question.
2, and
It's a good prediction.
and the way that they like telegraphed it, like visually, because he's like in the middle of this like fire thing, so he's like the eye, right? And
Oh.
and if you guys remember when I can't remember if it was Frodo or Samwise, that when they like touched the ring, and they thought, oh, it's hot, but
It's
instead
not. It was cold.
right?
Yeah.
the same thing happened.
Same as the fire
Yeah.
that the
They-
Harfoot falls into.
Interesting.
definitely some visual foreshadowing going on with that scene and the fire and him. I agree. There's something there.
Right? It's something.
Other than that, I'm here for it. Let's start a new podcast, Rings of Power podcast.
I'm making a
ring
I'm making a
match.
wizard hat for my mic.
Dads of the Lords of the Dads. Something. All right. Well, thank you, Stevie. I appreciate that. Crosshair. Brian, Blackie, what'd you think?
Insane.
You liked it.
Like completely stellar. Like, well, I don't know what we're calling this. Just episodic. I mean, it felt like a movie. We talked earlier about the music. Like, that music brought me right back to the Lord of the Rings movies, which has some of the best music and can really make movies like this. The visuals, I don't know, was it shot in New Zealand again? Like,
Probably.
whatever.
I'd be
Like,
surprised if it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, why screw with greatness, you know?
it took me 30 minutes just because the names in Lord of the Rings are really hard to remember. They're hard to say.
Say Doogie Howser.
Galadriel.
30 minutes in when I was like, it's the
Elrond.
what was her name in? She was like the White Queen or something, right?
Galadriel.
Galadriel, same
yeah,
one.
right. Like, didn't she have? It was like the White Queen. Remember, she had like a name. Where remember when they found her in the forest and she was like glowing, like she had some kind of name. And when we realized that's who that was, and then that made me go, I think that's her.
Lady of
So
the
I
Woods.
looked it up.
Something like that.
Lady of the Wood, yeah, something like that. When I realized that was that, and then that Elrond was, I'm use simple terms, Liv Tyler's dad. I was
Lady
like,
of
oh,
Light.
yeah, the Lady of
They
Light.
called her Lady,
Lady
of Light.
Okay.
Lady of Lorien and Lady of the Wood.
Lady of the Wood. Okay.
But once I realized all that, I was like completely sold on it. And then even Durin, remember the doors of Durin when they went to the
Durin's
thing?
awesome.
The dwarves were insane. I mean, Gimlet was like so awesome, and all his buddies. It's just so, I don't know what Joe's making Steven laugh, and now I'm laughing. The tie-ins, the visuals, the music, everything was just completely so stupid. Was just completely
Keep
off
it
the
together.
charts, and I can't wait for more of it. I'm completely sucked in. Prior to like, I was telling you guys in our chat, like prior to like Star Wars and anything else, like when I was a kid, like medieval, like Excalibur type stuff was my jam, and Lord of the Rings has always been something that I can go back and watch and be completely satisfied with. May fast forward through some of the Smeagol parts because it gets a little old, but the orcs, man, when she was fighting that like goblin
That
orc,
troll,
like
whatever, the ice
in
troll
the
or whatever it
house.
was?
No, in the
Yeah.
house, the ice troll was. That scene was, come on,
That was
She came in
epic,
all-
Freaking
yeah.
sliced it down to her size.
So
But they worked as a team. You see the elves?
But then
that
she
was
like
when I
sliced it up.
realized who she was.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he went
Yeah,
up and then did a.
Oh,
Super
all about it.
graphic, which
Yes.
is awesome. And I think we have to remember Lord of the Rings was made a really long time ago. So the CGI capabilities and filming and technology and everything is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, the production value on this is on par, if not better, than what we got in the films.
I believe the production value on this is unlimited, according to Jeff Bezos.
Is he funding this thing?
That makes sense.
Let's tell you about marketing and advertising. I had some Amazon boxes show up today, and they're covered in Ring of Power tape.
Yep, same. Ring of Power tape all
I'm
around
seeing
it. Yep.
Ring of Power, like I have a Fire Stick. I open up my Fire Stick. It's like Ring of Power.
I'm just
You open
glad
up
it
your
doesn't
Amazon
suck,
It's like
right?
Ring of Power.
Because otherwise you'd
like,
be
It's rings.
Otherwise, you'd be
of power.
reminded of how
Rings.
bad it sucks, but you're actually reminded
Plural.
of how good it is every time you.
Okay, so
think about
Power.
it.
Watch it.
does anybody
Ring of Power is
does
after you
anybody
chew.
know if this is supposed to be like 1 season, 3 seasons? Can it just go on
For
indefinitely?
1,000 years until it matches up to The Hobbit.
Yeah, only until it gets to the Hobbit, right? No, I don't know though. No, I don't know.
It's so well done when you tie in characters that we know and love and have seen through these multi-episodic movies. I'm for it, especially.
I think
the
it's going to
type
go to the
writing
creation
and
of the rings,
production
and
value.
then probably like that'll be kind of it.
Well,
Yeah.
in this show already, we've gone hundreds of or thousands of years
Before.
because they show her as a child in the beginning, and then it explains. She takes up her brother's oath
After
and
he had been
basically
fighting
it
for a
says,
couple
like,
hundred years.
Right, he'd already been fighting, and while she was growing up, but she takes up his oath and essentially goes for like hundreds of years
After,
looking for
right.
Sauron. Right, right. So I don't know if it gets to thousands.
It is
but she's been around a while. It's,
Yeah, I was looking at the IMDb
Okay.
and
Yeah.
just kind of researching a little bit because I couldn't. I was like, okay, if they were fighting for a couple thousand years, the elves and the orcs, and then now all of a sudden,
But that's what I'm saying.
It's a couple thousand years.
In the show, so far, we've already gone like thousands
Yeah.
of years in the first episode. So there's a lot of story they could tell or write up or whatever. I don't know if the story was already written before or if it's new, but there's thousands of years between, and they skipped those thousands of years. So there could be a story within
more.
what they were, the journeys to look for Sauron, whatever. That's all. That could be its own show right there.
Even with
so there's so much time.
even with what we know about the lore, there's so much that they could do just between the point in time we've seen so far and The Hobbit, right? Like season 1 could just be about them, and up until the point where they make the rings, and then like in the next season we could see like, okay, now the rings have been handed out. Now how does that start to impact the people that receive them and
How the kings become
they
corrupt.
get corrupt and downfall, and I mean honestly they could milk each ring could be a different season. It could be they could go for a long time.
19 rings,
I mean-
right? There was 19?
9.
9.
Okay.
9 rings of power.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
And
was
then one ring
9
to
kings.
rule them all.
completely. I was completely satisfied and like watched the end of that second episode.
I actually watched it twice
Where's the next one?
because I was like trying to get.
I watched it 3
I was trying to
times.
get ready for this, and then Kim wanted to watch it, so I watched it again, and it was just as good the first time.
It has a lot of rewatch value. Yep,
Exactly.
It has so much rewatch value. Yeah,
telling
I'm telling you, I watched both episodes 3 times just because I was like, I want to see this again. I want to miss any
good.
details I didn't see.
and they're
or
not that
whatever.
long. It's
There's
like
so
an
much
hour,
in there.
long each.
There's
Check it out.
Right.
there's that music, right? That's like now obviously because this is very I don't know. It's the music sticks with the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like Star Wars or something where that background music that plays when scenes are happening make a huge difference into the flow and the feel of the
100%.
movie.
Did you ever see the?
Makes a huge difference.
There's a documentary, and it's big in our home because of our son. He's all into music. He's going to school for music, but it's called The Score. If you ever want to watch a documentary about music, movies specifically, this I highly recommend it. But to your point, Brian, it talks about, and they use that movie, the Lord of the Rings, as an example, and they do it beautifully. Where there's a certain theme, and John Williams is the master of this. He picks like 4 or 5 notes, and they hit at a certain time on the visual. And then flash forward several minutes into the movie, maybe an hour into the movie, and those same notes pop again, and it's familiar. So it's not only the visual that's hitting you, but it's the audio that's hitting you.
It's like psychological.
Dude, it is it is dopamine to like the max, right? And you're just getting fed and you want more and more and more, but you're also part of the journey because you're pulling on this other part of you, the other sense of your sound. And it's incredible.
Well, and they're tying in. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Steve.
there are shows, perfectly good shows, where I can sit back and I can just watch what's going on screen, and then by the end of it, I'm happy. Like what I watched was
Satisfied.
was cool.
Right.
But then there are shows like this where in the first 2 minutes, I'm already
Hooked. Yep.
viscerally invested in the show because like the opening line, right, was Galadriel as a kid saying that in the beginning evil didn't exist, right?
Right.
And then what's the
No, they didn't have a name for death. Is that what you're talking about?
But there was also something about
Yeah.
evil too, right? Because it was all like
No,
positive.
she said the evil didn't exist in the beginning, but then the very first thing we see is that evil was a behavior that was taught, because you see that punk ass kid throw a stone and hit her
Boat.
little paper ship,
Her boat.
and dude, right when that happened, I like got up out of my sofa and I was like, oh dude, I want to punch this kid. Like,
Yeah, a little punk. Yeah, and she was right about to too. As soon as her brother came up, she cocked her fist. She's like,
But
yeah,
that
she should have.
I tell you that I can't say enough about that audio and how it's not the same soundtrack, but yet you feel like you're watching.
They use the
Lord of
same
the Rings
notes,
or The
right?
Hobbit.
Yeah.
you feel it.
It's the same vibe for
Star
sure.
Wars has done a really good job with that. With these other shows,
It's consistency.
with Obi-Wan, with Mandalorian, with Book
Mando
of
and
Boba
Boba.
Fett. Like Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian have a specific sound, whereas so does Obi-Wan, right? Like they tie in together.
Yep.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this segment right here. Thank you, everyone, for your insight and your opinions. I value them greatly.
Rings of
Solid
Power
pick.
is Dad Batch approved.
Dad Batch
Sounds like.
approved.
double.
545.
Double thumbs.
Yeah,
all the way
we're
around.
definitely going to be talking about this show a lot more. So we'll be working on something new for that.
Yeah.